Hello, beautiful creatures of the world, and welcome back to Coffee with Kerri-Lynn. It's a beautiful day in the far north of Maine, up along the Canadian border in the crown of Maine, and I hope it's a beautiful day wherever you are as well. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to play window up, window down, because it's beautiful out. Our morning started really cold, but now it's getting really warm. And I can't get to where I normally podcast in the backyard because the mud is absolutely incredible. It will suck the boots right off your feet. It will suck the tires right off of your car if you get into the soft shoulders. It is terrible. We have 5 seasons in Maine: winter, spring, summer, fall. And between winter and spring, we have mud season. And I absolutely detest mud season. And I'm not about to get my boots sucked off my feet, fall flat on my face with all the equipment. So we are in the studio today with the window open, and by studio I mean the small corner of my kitchen that I am relegated to do my podcasting around my small fiber business out of. So it's going to be window up, window down, ambient noise of traffic. That's just the way it works. If you are joining me on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, YouTube Music, and now Pandora, welcome to my channel. Think about popping me into your podcast list. I do a different show every day. Today, if you don't like the topic, just swipe away. And maybe tomorrow I'll have a topic you want to hear about. Give me a 5-star rating. It does cost you 2 seconds of your time, which is very precious and very valuable to people. So if you give me a 5-star rating on any of the audio-only platforms, I really do appreciate you doing that for me. If you're watching me on YouTube and you are a subscriber to my channel, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate you guys so much. I have earned your subscription, and I am elated over that. If you're not subscribed yet, please think about subscribing. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs down on the videos on YouTube. Any attention's good attention. Comment in the comment section below. Yes, that is me reading every comment and commenting back to you. I do reply. And we have had such amazing conversations on my other videos, and you guys can go to the other videos, read the threads. I have a great audience. I absolutely do. They're so intelligent. They are so smart. They are out-of-the-box thinkers. They are kind people, and they are just trying to make a difference in the world, in our country, and it is absolutely amazing. We have people on other videos who have commented, and other subscribers, they commented with they're starting out in homesteading, or they're just, whatever. They have a little problem. They want a little solution. And I have actually had commenters, other subscribers, get on and give them solutions. So we work like a little community on this little old channel of mine, and I do appreciate each and every one of you. I'm on all the social media platforms, links below. I'm on Rumble, which I'm going to do a couple of exclusives that can't go on these platforms because I like my channels and I want them to exist. So I'm on Rumble, Coffee with Kerri-Lynn, no hyphen, Coffee with Kerrilynn, no hyphen. Join me on Rumble, and we have an exclusive that is going to go up by this weekend about the shitty shorties and what a leading virologist is now, with his research, saying is going to happen. So you might want to join me over there. I'll let you guys know when I put it up. Ladies and gentlemen, beautiful creatures of the world, I want to talk about tenant rates versus squatters rates today. In New York, in Brooklyn, New York, a $1.1 million home was burned down because there was squatters on the property. The landlord had the landowner, he wasn't the landlord because he didn't want to be. The landowner had chased these people out of the home several times, hired contractors to fix the home. He was going to do whatever he was going to do to the home, whether it was move into it or sell it. It doesn't matter. He owns it, and he was not renting it to anybody. And illegal tenants, I'm not saying illegal migrants, and I think this is where the news is not using the proper term. There are different laws for tenant rights than there are for squatters' rights. But what everybody is saying is there are squatters when they're actually illegal tenants. But because we have open borders, and because we have an illegal criminal migrant problem, saying illegal tenant, people are going to confuse that with illegal criminal migrant. And so it's easier to say that they're squatters because they don't belong there when they're actually illegal tenants. They don't belong there. They don't have a lease. The place was never rented out to them. And I'm going to talk about this in terms of the state of Maine because that's where I live. And we have tenancy rights and we have squatter rights like every other state. Tenancy rights are generally a short period of time, anywhere between 14 and 30 days before that you're living on somebody's property and you don't have a lease, you're not supposed to be there, and that is a tenancy right issue. That's why it's got to go through tenancy court. Evictions. Squatter rights generally take years and years and years. Some states 10, 15, 20, 25, 35 years before somebody who is illegally living on your property gets to claim the right to your property. So there's two different things going on. We also have our wacky moonbat governor has decided in our state that you can take a tent, put it anywhere, and you got to be evicted after that. But we're going to get into that in a bit. I saw this crumbling in 2005, 2006, ladies and gentlemen, beautiful creatures of the world, with the New London, Connecticut case. Here's the long and short of it. Pfizer, it was based in Groton. They wanted to move across the river to New London, the wharf area. There were homes there, not summer homes, year-round residential homes. It was a residential community. And Pfizer wanted the land so that they could build a facility. So they tried to, the city of New London tried to grab the land for Pfizer on an eminent domain case. There's a wonderful movie, and I think it's called The Little Pink House. It's an independent film. Google it up. It shows you the entire battle that this one woman had from start to finish. She would not sell out to Pfizer. She would not take the offer, the deal, the value that they were going to give her for her property. She wanted her home there. She wanted to live there till the day she died. So she ran this thing right up to the Supreme Court, and the U.S. Supreme Court sided in favor of Pfizer and let that wharf area go to Pfizer through eminent domain. And I said in 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008 that this was the beginning of the end of property rights. So if you owned it, you are now not only going to have to surrender your property rights through eminent domain to your municipality should they want to build a road, put up a new hospital, whatever to benefit the community. We've always had eminent domain rights. Municipalities, states, they've always been able to pay you fair market value and take your property for the betterment of the citizens of the community. This was the first case ever that property was being seized under eminent domain to give to a private corporation. Long story short, Pfizer never used the facility. There you have it. But the land was gone, the people were dispersed, and the U.S. Supreme Court sided with them. Now, tenant rights versus squatters' rights. As I said before, tenant rights are generally a very short period of time. That's why people are confused because they're like squatters' rights, but why do they have to go into court for an eviction if they're squatters? Well, they're just people that ain't supposed to be there. They're living in somebody's home, on somebody's property, and you have to go through the court system after a certain amount of days to evict them, as though you are a landlord. You become a landlord de facto when somebody that moves into your empty home or onto your property, you don't want there, you don't know that they're there, and then after X amount of days, they become tenants. And these laws actually, they have to change. They absolutely have to change because people are taking advantage of these laws and using them in a nefarious way. And now the poor gentleman in Brooklyn, New York, has lost his $1.1 million home to a fire. And that's absolutely hideous. Squatters' rights generally take many, many years. Now I'm going to tell you a story about a friend of ours who had a squatter's case to fight. In Maine, a lot of people own a lot of acreage, and it's wood lots. we have 26 out back. Nothing's back there but bears. So go ahead and go try to live there. And we have a beautiful big bear family that lives out back. And when we first moved here many years ago, it was really cool because in the morning, Mama Bear would walk right up our driveway and across the street, and all her little cubs were in tow. And then in the evening, you knew when to get the hell in the house. She'd come back with the babies, and they'd go into the back 26, and this happened just about daily. And it was absolutely fantastic and absolutely exciting that this happened. It was also absolutely dangerous at the same time. So we just, a lot of bear spray around here. We have a lot of bear spray, just in case. So in the back 26, for all the years that I've been in this house, almost 16 years now, there's been a family of bears that live back there. So go ahead and squat. You won't be back there much longer, my friend. Let me tell you. Now, what happens in Maine is, this is what happened to our friend. He had a vast amount of land, enough acreage that you just couldn't walk it. And he had a lot of woods, and it was basically a big, giant wood lot. And somebody pulled a tow-behind camper onto his property, way into the woods. They got it, and they kind of camouflaged it all up, and this is how it works in the state of Maine. And that camper was there for over 20 years. He didn't realize it. And, people would go hunting back there and everything, but who knew? He didn't do it. He didn't go hunting back there. Or the piece of property he owned, it was for his retirement. He was going to harvest the wood to help aid in his retirement, and there you go. Well, one day, he's driving by his property, and he sees logging trucks come out of it. The hell? So he goes and he stops a truck, and what are you doing? This is my property. Why did you cut my trees down? And so there's this big brouhaha, and they point him into the direction of the gentleman that let them cut the trees down. Now, the gentleman said, yeah, that's been my trailer in there for over 20 years. I own this. So into court it goes. Well, it turns out that the guy our friend had estimated his woodlot to be about $50,000 worth of wood. And the guy had harvested it. And when they went into court, our friend who owned the land, now this guy was like, hey, I had the trailer there for over 20 years, therefore I own the land. And like I said, there was the big court battle. It cost a lot of money. It cost so much money. The guy was like, our friend was just like, listen, we should have just let it go. In the end, the person who squatted on his land, who took our friend's estimate of $50,000 worth of logs off of the land, ended up giving our friend $15,000. Called it a day. That was it. Over. Our friend got $15,000. His retirement, gone. See you later. Goodbye. And that's how it works in the state of Maine. Oh, if somebody puts their property on your property for 20 years, they can claim squatters' rights. Now, tenant rights are different. If somebody moves into your domicile for 14 days, they are now legally a tenant, and you are a landlord de facto in the state of Maine, and you have to go through the court process to get them to leave. That's why when people come and visit us, they say, hey, we're coming up for 3 weeks in the summer. I'm like, oh, no, you're not. You're coming up for 10 days. You want to stay for 3 weeks? The remainder of the time, we have hotel rooms. You can go, stay there, come down, visit us. But you ain't staying here for no 14 days. We had a friend during 2021. They own a home out on the lake, and they went through absolute hell with a family member. The family member was from the city. They wanted to get away from the city. So our friend said, stay at the lake house. Let this all die down a little bit. Well, now when it was time to go, it's time for our friend to use their property out on the lake, their relatives wouldn't leave. They literally had to evict their relatives from their lake property. And it was big, it was messy, and it caused a huge inter-family argument. And needless to say, there are people that are no longer talking to people in that family. Because after 14 days, their company at their lake house became residents, and they became landlords de facto. And that's just how it works here in the state of Maine. So you really need to know when you are letting people stay because of an incident in the cities, they want to escape the city. If you have an empty piece of property, you really need to know what the laws are, because a lot of people don't have kind people that will just say, okay, I'll just leave after 3 months and I'll go back to my own home in the city, even though things are still ridiculous and everything's in lockdown. These people didn't want to leave. And of course, our courts were shut down too. So there wasn't a lot of evictions going through at the time. In fact, you couldn't evict. And the hotels were getting all kinds of money up here to keep people in hotel rooms that did not have homes. So we experienced a great deal of that up here. And as a result, these things do happen in real life to real people. May not happen to you, but they do happen to other people. And it's just absolutely horrible. Now, another thing, our wacky governor and our goofy legislature down in Augusta has decided that if you own land and somebody puts a tent, this is one is driving me up the wall. Somebody puts a tent on your land. You as the landowner cannot remove that tent. You have to evict them, ladies and gentlemen, beautiful creatures of the world. So if you're strolling through your property, say the back 26, or a farmer is strolling through their farmlands and there's a tent on there, you cannot legally remove that tent without an eviction notice. Now, how the hell do I get an eviction notice to a person living in my back 26? Do you really think the mailman's going to deliver that? Absolutely not. So, those are a few of the wacky things that go on in the state of Maine. Now, this law was tested because a drugged out couple, I think this happened in Portland, if this was months and months ago, over the summer. A family went on vacation and their home was empty. And a drugged out couple decided that they were going to utilize the Maine tenanting law on private property and become de facto tenants of the home. Well, the homeowners came back from their vacation and opened the front door, and there's this tent in their living room, and they're like, what the hell? And the couple says, hey, you can't remove our tent. Well, they ended up calling the police, and the police came, and because the couple pitched the tent in the home, in the living room of the home, and not in the yard, the couple was arrested for trespass, breaking and entering, and all that good stuff. Now, had the couple put the tent in the backyard of the home, nothing the police would have done. They would have been tenants, and you would have had to go through the court system to remove them. So, while squatters' rights sound a lot sexier than tenancy rights, ladies and gentlemen, beautiful creatures of the world, you really need to know the laws in your state about tenancy. What makes you a landlord de facto? Illegal tenants. People that are claiming that you rent to them and they don't pay you no money. And yes, it does take a while to get them off of your property. Yes, there is often always destruction during their stay or when they find out that they are going to be evicted. And really, property rights are on very thin ice in this country, in many states, in many municipalities, ladies and gentlemen, beautiful creatures of the world. And homeowners are facing an uphill battle when things happen on their property that they don't give permission for. Ladies and gentlemen, beautiful creatures of the world, carpe diem, because no one promised you a tomorrow.